Hey y'all, hey, welcome to my kitchen. My name is Erica and we are going to do what's for dinner this week. I'm going to show you a few really simple but delicious meals and I hope that you like them. Let's just jump into it, y'all. For dinner tonight, I am doing like a Philly cheesesteak style bowl. So we're going to do it in the Instant Pot. So we're going to turn this guy on. Bone-in, boneless, chuck roast. Okay, we're gonna go with the chuck roast, fresh. Okay, let's put the meat in. All right, I used the scale and it says this is 1 pound, 9 ounces of meat. So with that amount of meat, it says it's gonna take 35 minutes, high pressure, and it is going to do a pulse release. So that's what we want, yes. Okay, it says add 8 ounces of water, which we're going to be doing, but just not quite yet. I'm going to do layers. So I'm going to take a few of my onions and some mushrooms. And usually I do regular peppers, but we're doing roasted red peppers because I had a jar that I needed to use. So we're going to layer in some roasted red pepper. And then this steak is all falling apart, but this is really thin cut chuck steak. So we're gonna put this in a layer, okay? Then we're gonna take some Worcestershire sauce, drizzle. We're gonna take some of our seasoning. We're gonna use this Keto Chophouse. Good layer of seasoning. And part of our beef broth. There's about half a cup of beef broth. Now we are just going to layer again.
Straight cruising, headed for a bruising, watching out for number 1. You gotta slow down and look around you, son. Today is just today and not tomorrow.
Y'all, it's time now and it's pulsing.
Where you're going, you can rest your...
Alright y'all, so here's what it's looking like. It is nice and fork tender. Oh my gosh. There is a lot of liquid. I was a little worried about the liquid, so I put like double what I usually do. Usually I only do a cup. So really you could totally turn this into like a Philly cheesesteak soup. I bet that would be freaking delicious. I think that's actually what I may do, y'all, because all of that beef broth is going to be delicious. But I'm going to drain it. I'm going to pull some off and make sandwiches for the kids. So the brioche buns, I usually would use a hoagie and cheese sauce. I don't have cheese sauce or a hoagie, but I have these brioche buns and I have provolone cheese. So I'm going to build Jackson a sandwich.
Where you're going, brightness looks big. Where you're going, truth cannot be hid. You gotta get going.
Alright, Jack's gonna be the first one to try this out. I gave you the dipping juice if you want it, but you don't have to use that. Kind of like a au jus style. What you think?
Very good.
Yeah?
Very good.
I
Probably
think
would be better on hoagies.
yeah, I know. I know. I couldn't. Aldi was out of hoagie rolls. So there you have it. It is so tender and nice and yummy. I'm gonna have a bowl right this moment. If y'all are enjoying this kind of video, I would love it if you would stop real quick and hit that subscribe button. Maybe hit the like even, or the dislike, that would be okay too. And I would love for you to comment and let me know what is your favorite kind of video that I do, and maybe if any of these meals look like something that you're interested in trying, I'd love for you to try them and come back and let me know what you think. All right, let's jump back into the video, y'all. Okay, for dinner this night, we are making one of my super simple throw together in 5-minute chicken dishes. This is going to be focused on pesto, and I've got some red and yellow peppers and some tomatoes, some basil pesto, mozzarella cheese, a little bit of mayonnaise, whatever seasoning you want. I'm using a garlic and herb seasoning. And then I've got my TimetoShrink breadcrumbs. Basically, it is the garlic and herb seasoning with pork rinds and nutritional yeast and Parmesan cheese. And then I'm just going to do it all in this pan, y'all, so that I don't have to waste anything else to clean. I guess not waste, but you know what I mean. I can clean less. So I always like to season my chicken on both sides first. Then I'm mixing together the pesto and the mayonnaise and the seasoning. And I'm going to put that all over, just using the back of my spoon and spreading it as evenly as I can. And you can use this with a million different spice combos, same exact method, and it's going to give you the same super juicy result with just different flavor profiles. So spreading over the fresh veggies, again, today I just chose to use my tomatoes cut up and my peppers cut up. And then on top of this, we're just going to do a little bit of mozzarella cheese and the breadcrumbs. If you're not doing low carb or keto, you could just use regular breadcrumbs or like panko breadcrumbs, but we are using a low carb breadcrumb option here. Then we're going to cook it at 350 and till it is done. It took about 20 minutes because I had really thin chicken, but with chicken, you're always going to want to check it, right? So let's scoop this baby up and taste test. All right, y'all, let's try this chicken. I've not made this exact version before, so we'll see what it tastes like. Very good. Very, very good. And I was going to serve it with a Caesar salad and broccoli, but my Caesar salad went bad. I hate when that happens. So we're just having broccoli on the side, which is fine. But very, very good, very simple. My chicken breast was really thin, so this only took about 20 minutes. We are going to make a new recipe. This is Mongolian beef and broccoli in the Instant Pot. And this is not a low carb recipe, but I will talk to you about how you can modify it. But we're going to make a sauce out of beef broth, coconut aminos, rice wine vinegar. We're going to use a little bit of sesame oil. We are going to use some ginger and some garlic. The first thing that you want to do is get your flank steak cut up. So I'm cutting this against the grain. I also put it in the freezer for about 30 minutes, y'all. Putting it in the freezer just makes it easier to cut really thin. And see how I'm cutting it against the grain? That's really important too for we are going to play with my new machine here. This is my new smart pressure cooker. Oh my gosh, y'all. This is my new smart pressure cooker, and you pick what you're going to do. I picked pressure cook, and then I picked beef, and now I'm choosing what type of beef. Brisket was as close as I could get, and then you can either tell it what it weighs or it will weigh it for you. Then it tells you what to do. So it says you will be adding 2 cups of water, no problem, because we're making that sauce. Then it says do not use the lid because now we're going to sear. So the next thing we're going to do is get this ready to sear our meat. The next step is we're going to take our beef and sear it in that hot oil on both sides. I'm going to have to do this in batches. I'm using some toasted onion seasoning. You could just use salt and pepper. And I'm also using less than 1/4 of a cup of flour. You could totally skip this flour step if you're trying to do low carb, or you could use like a little bit of arrowroot starch if you wanted, or just later on you could increase the thickness with some xanthan gum or something. But while we're waiting on that, I'm starting my sauce. This garlic is going to go into my sauce. I'm going to finely dice this garlic. I kind of just smash it with a knife to get it to peel. That's just the easiest way I have found to do it. And then now that this oil is nice and hot, we are going to put this beef in. And we'll just do this in stages. I'm getting it completely coated in the oil, and then I just let it be so that it can get nice and brown on one side. I'll flip it to the other side, and then we'll just keep repeating this in batches. For my sauce, I'm going to need that fresh garlic diced up, and then I'm also using some fresh ginger. I'm just grating fresh ginger. I find that to be the easiest way to do it. I added to it all of the liquid stuff. So we have the ginger and the brown sugar mixed with the beef broth and the garlic and the ginger and some red pepper flakes and a few other things. I forgot to show that being made, but that's okay, y'all. It is going to be in the recipe description down below completely. Now that it's done, it automatically does a natural release. So I'm just tasting it to see if it's tender enough, and it is definitely tender enough. And now I'm adding just a little bit of sesame oil, and then I'm going to add some broccoli, and then I'm going to turn this back on just to like the slow cooker function for about 30 minutes, just to let that broccoli, it's frozen, so let it thaw and get all in there without getting mushy. You know, that's why I didn't put the broccoli in early. You also to this could add some onions and red bell peppers. If I was adding those, I'd probably add them in when I put the steak in. But y'all, this is delicious. This is so, so good. So here is dinner tonight. We made Mongolian beef and broccoli, and Caroline made some lo mein noodles. So the kids are going to have it over lo mein noodles, and I've already tasted it, and it's really, really good. So for dinner tonight, I am making carnitas in the crock pot. This is a huge bone-in pork roast, and I'm going to use some onion powder, some smoky southwest, some garlic powder, and just a little bit of habanero lime. That's actually a salt, so that will substitute for my salt. Then I'm going to squeeze a bunch of citrus to help marinate it, and then you put all of this on it and marinate it for a while before you actually sear it, if you have time. I didn't have time this day, so I just went ahead and juiced everything, and then I just got right down to business, y'all. But this is such an easy thing to make. It makes so much food, and then we can use it in multiple ways during the week. I'm going to show you a couple of the different meals that we had with this. The initial meal we had with this was just the carnitas and rice, but I'll show you a couple others here in a minute. Next thing we're going to do is season this really well with that seasoning I showed you earlier. You're going to use a lot, and then you're going to get hot oil in your pan. I'm using avocado oil. You could use bacon grease, whatever kind of oil you want to use. Then we're going to sear this on all sides really well. Get a really nice thick crust. You can completely skip this step if you don't have time, but if you have time, I really do think it makes a difference, y'all. Now we're going to put it into a crock pot. This was the inner liner of my crock pot. I love this all-clad crock pot because it can go from the stove top right into your crock pot. But we're going to put it in here, and then I'm going to just add the onions that I have diced up, and I'm going to add that marinade that we had made a little bit earlier. Alright, y'all, I did 4 hours on high and 3 hours on low, and there's the bone, just falling off the bone. Now, juices and all, I'm just going to go in here with my little meat chopper upper thing, meat shredder, and this is just going to shred up. I'm just going to keep doing this until I get it shredded as much as I would like. You could pull it out of the juice, shred it, and put it back in, but it is so tender, it is very easy just to do with this method. Okay, here's night number 2 of what we're going to do with this carnitas style pork. So I am going to make a Cuban casserole, and I actually made this in another video, but I decided to include it in here because I wanted to show you all the different things you could do with these carnitas. So I'm just layering this on the bottom here, and then I am going to top it with some layers of ham and Swiss cheese and pickles. Just going to keep layering it and then put it in the oven 350 until it's heated all the way through. That's it. Oh yeah, I'm also adding mustard to each layer as well, y'all.
Straight cruising, headed for a bruising. Watching out for number 1. You gotta slow down and look around you, son. Today is just today and not tomorrow.
Alright, y'all, I'm a hot mess tonight, but I did want to try this on camera. So get a little bit of the ham and the pork and the pickle and the Swiss cheese. Okay, this is delicious.
Night number 3 of using this carnitas meat, and we're going to make Huevos Rancheros, y'all. We have a lot left, so I'm going to go ahead and crisp up whatever kind of fat you want. I'm just using avocado oil, and the pork is pretty fatty as well. I'm going to crisp it up really, really well on both sides, adding a little bit of Southwest seasoning to it. And once this is nice and crispy, then we'll go on and make the egg portion. Now, in this same pan, after I took the pork out, I put some salsa down, any kind of salsa you want, and then I made little spots to throw my eggs in. I don't know why I only did 3 eggs. I probably could have gotten 5 eggs in this one pan, y'all, but it is what it is. I am just going to now that it is all in here, I'm going to put a little bit of seasoning on it, and then I'm going to turn it down to low and cover it until it's finished to my liking. You can use any seasoning you want on here. That's a little habanero lime salt. And now we are going to load these up, and they are delicious. I used corn tortillas that I kind of lightly crisped up in oil, and you could use low-carb tortillas if you wanted. I'm throwing some carnitas meat on there, y'all. I'm going to throw any kind of toppings that you want. You can do lime, you can do jalapenos, you can do cilantro, you can do a little bit more seasonings. I also have a cilantro lime crema sauce that I had made. So we're just putting all of this together, and this is going to be a delicious meal. We're actually eating this for a brunch, y'all. Look at that runny yolk. I mean, you could cook it longer if you don't want the runny yolk, but oh my goodness, y'all.
Shut the door. That drives me crazy. Okay, so Jason's gonna take some, I'm gonna take some. We're gonna taste this, y'all. I would eat this with a knife and fork, but we're gonna try it this way.
Oh my gosh.
Good. Oh my God. Those are so good, y'all.
Perfect. So
All right, everybody, come eat.
Here's one last idea for what to use the leftover carnitas for.
We're going to make our enchiladas. We're using a red enchilada this time, and this is all of the barbecue pork. We're going to combine the barbecue pork, 1 thing of cream cheese. I'm going to add a handful of cheese. I'm going to do 1 scooping tablespoon and a half. I like them because they're diced already. They're already diced up for you, and they have a top, so I can just keep this. Now I can put the top back on and keep this in my refrigerator. And then we are going to add some green chilies. Whole can of green chilies. This is what's going to go inside of our enchiladas. This is thoroughly combined. Now we are just going to stuff this inside our low-carb tortillas. Let's do assembly line. All right, so here is our enchilada sauce. We're gonna put some of it into this bowl, a little bit in the bottom of our casserole dish. You're gonna take your tortilla. You can use any kind of tortilla, whatever your favorite is. This is Mama Lupe's. Let's see here, you can see that. These are my favorite low-carb tortilla. So basically, I just dip it in the enchilada sauce to get it completely coated. And then I just set it in my enchilada pan. Some filling, stuff it down the middle. And then we're gonna wrap these babies up as tight as we can and push it to the side. We're just gonna do that all the way across. Alright, so here's our enchiladas. I usually press them in a little bit tighter into the pan, but this is how many we had, so we made as many as we could with the filling that we had. We were just utilizing leftovers. This is very much a clean out the pantry meal, and everyone will absolutely love it. It is always a crowd pleaser. I usually do green enchilada sauce, truthfully, but I had this in the cupboard and I wanted to use it up. So that is all. Now we're just gonna bake this until it's heated all the way through. Everything is cooked, but probably 25 minutes or so at 350, and it will be a yummy dinner.
Enchiladas out of the oven. They smell so good and they look so good. Yum. All right, y'all, that's what's for dinner this week. I hope you found some good ideas. I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me, and I hope maybe you'll try some of them. See you soon. Bye, y'all.